There are so many microphones, so many features, and in all the specs and bells and whistles, confusion can set in. Ultimately, we just want a microphone that can just give us solid audio, and most on the market can do just that, but with different features, prices, and also lots of noise. The questions can keep coming. So today I'm going to look at a few that I've used recently and would recommend, as I've used all of these on various shoots, including some for the BBC. So stick around as we look at the DJI Mic 2, the Saramonic Air, and the Neewer CM28 Pro, with a special mention also for the Maono Wave T5. Now, you know what it's like. You scroll through YouTube and sites like Amazon trying to find the perfect microphone, that one that's just so much better than the rest. But the reality is, there isn't one. It's all about opinion, and the best just doesn't exist. But what does exist are many options for you to consider, and let's be honest, it's time consuming, it frustrates me, and it probably does you too. So in this video, I want to look at the DJI Mic 2, one of my favorite options for the past couple of years, but also products from others, the Saramonic Air with its surprising quality and lav support, and the Neewer CM28 Pro, which has really surprised me in terms of quality and also price. Now, just quickly, I've worked in TV for years and I've used all of these mics that you're about to see on my BBC shoots, so I wouldn't do that if I didn't trust them. So all the examples you're about to see have been used in broadcast situations, and I've left chapter markings in there so you can jump to the mics that you're interested in. But first up, we'll start with what many consider to be the flagship. The DJI Mic 2 has become the go-to for many creators for a reason. Its high-quality sound and 32-bit float internal recording really made people sit up and take note. But here in 2026, with so many cheaper alternatives hitting the market, does the sound out of this still hold up? As I say, the biggest selling point of this is the 32-bit float internal recording. For anybody who films solo, well, this is your safety net. And if you're in loud environments, you can just bring those high audio levels down in post. Here at an Everton match, the goal goes in and the audio is quite frankly unusable. With just a quick lowering of the sound in post, then you have clear, usable audio. You're just not going to get this ability in other products unless they have 32-bit float. But this isn't just a party trick, it's really useful, and I hope as the technology improves, we'll see more features like this in other brands, and also we'll see the prices come down. Audio-wise, the DJI Mic 2 is crisp. It really doesn't sound out of place in broadcast environments.
You know, it's like straight after the Olympics, a few months later, you're back in the gym, back in the sweaty grind and hard work, and it felt like it hadn't really changed. Whereas now I'm older, I look back, you know, it's made my life. I'm Jay Jones Olympic champion now forever, and it
also has the usual noise cancellation too, but like most, I like to handle my noise cancellation in post, as I want full control. And incidentally, all of these mics that you see and hear from in this video have noise cancelling options, and I won't really be demonstrating this in this video because really, I never use it. The build quality of the Mic 2 feels great, it feels great in the hands, and to be honest, they really look the part as well, with the internals on show, with the clear case on the outside. Range-wise, DJI say you can get up to 250 meters with this, and of course, these stats are in the line of sight as well, and they work on the 2.4 gigahertz frequency, and if you do have any dropouts, you've also got that safety net of the internal recording, as that will save you. This also has lavalier support as well, so you can hide the transmitters if you wish to, and use an external mic. The DJI Mic 3 doesn't have this ability, which for me gives the Mic 2 the edge over that one. It also has a 1-inch LED screen on the receiver with a physical thumb wheel. The screen can be a little bit fiddly to use if you have bigger hands, but the trade-off is that you can navigate this thing really quickly. So the pros of this system, well, like all DJI mics, they are incredibly easy to use with the DJI ecosystem. It has 32-bit float internal recording, and the sound quality is what you would expect for pro productions. For the cons, well, it's slightly bigger than other more modern microphones, and at $199 at the time of recording, it's, I suppose, on the pricey side of mics in this category. But it's still considered by many as the standard setter too. And in my opinion, it's still the one that other companies are looking to match. And you can watch my full review on the DJI Mic 2. The link is in the description. Now, Saramonic has always been a workhorse brand, but with the Saramonic Air, they've decided to add, well, some style to match the substance. This system looks retro-futuristic in its design, and in my review of this, I likened it to the Hyundai EVs. It just has that 80s vibe to it. And the first thing you notice about these is how small and unbelievably light these things are. The transmitters are just 11 grams, and it doesn't compromise on the quality. Tech-wise, it's pushing 24-bit audio, and you get a solid 10 hours of battery life in the transmitters, which actually beats the DJI Mic 2, although this doesn't have any internal recording.
Like, looking back, it's crazy that Swifty, even took me on. I obviously turned up to the gym saying, I want to be a professional boxer, and I'd never punched in my life before, and now I see why his reaction was like, why, what are you doing? Like, this is crazy almost. So luckily, he did take me on and he took the challenge on. I'm really excited to fight. I feel ready.
The audio profile, I would say, is very natural, and it doesn't overprocess the audio signal. And the big pro here is the inclusion of high quality external lavaliers in the box.
In time, I felt really hard at the start. I really did, because I was someone I really missed being at home. And then environment was built to be like you're at home, and that's what Jules created. She created that home environment, which was wanting to be relaxed, because if you're relaxed at home, then you can be a bit more relaxed at work, and you be able to express yourself a lot more. And if we haven't seen each other for years, and it can be like that, it can go like that, but if we see each other, it's like we saw each other yesterday. And
I would say this is the smallest mic I've ever used with lav support, which is a huge plus in my opinion, because it gives us the option of hiding the transmitter if we need to. It works up to 300 meters away, but again, like the DJI that we mentioned before, it's all in the line of sight and also in perfect conditions. Also, there's a nice touch with the clear charging case, which looks stylish, by the way, and you can see your charging status through the lid without opening it. The pros with this microphone are that it's tiny, the sound quality is on point, and you also get all of the accessories you need right in the box, and the lav support is a real bonus too. As for the cons, the biggest issue is not having any internal recording, although it's not essential, but there was always going to be a trade-off for its tiny size. Otherwise, to be honest with you, I can't really find a complaint with the Saramonic Air. You can get this for $149 at the time of recording. Check out my review of this one. The link is in the description. Now, Neewer are a company that makes everything, or at least that's how it seems. Anyway, I bought lots of light panels from them, I've bought tripods and rod systems for my new set, all sorts. So when they sent me the CM28 Pro wireless microphone to try, I thought, well, there's going to be a catch. But in fact, this one really surprised me. Now, you don't always need to spend $200 or $300 to get professional audio, and the newest CM28 Pro is certainly proving that this is the case. At $89.99, it promises pro features at nearly half the price of the big names. But what is the catch? Well, Neewer didn't skip on the essentials. You get 2 transmitters, a receiver, and a charging case all in the package. And you also get the ability to record internally with the 4 GB of internal storage on board each one of these transmitters. And that gives you about 9 hours of uncompressed backup recording directly into this mic, although it's not 32-bit float like the DJI, so no recovering those audio levels in post if you have to. It's only 16-bit unlike the others in this comparison, but when you hear it in action, can you really tell?
Any competition I go into, I'm going for gold. If someone beats me, then they're a better man than me. But now there's a lot of hungry people coming for me. There's hungry people older than me still. Heavyweight's still a bit of an older division compared to where I'm at the moment at 22.
It's very clean, and yes, a sound engineer could probably take the audio apart, but for a quick interview or vlog, well, I think it's going to get the job done. The 200-meter range, well, it's plenty, isn't it, for 99% of us creators, and the 9-hour battery life is rock solid for a full day of shooting as well. It has lavalier support, just like the others in this video have, and it's also quick and easy to use. But the one thing I would say about this is there hasn't been as much investment made into the design of this product. It's very no frills. However, for the price, you just want the mic to capture good quality audio, and this thing, well, it does just that.
It's constantly evolving, it's constantly helping us, and I think the biggest thing with that is using it in the right way. I think if you use it and communicate it within the right way, it can definitely help, but I also think it can go the other way. If you do it in a negative way, it's like anything in life. I think if you do it in a negative way, it won't. But
so the pros for this are that it's incredible value, and the internal recording at this price range is great to have. The cons, well, the build quality feels a bit more on the plasticky side, and when you compare it to, say, the DJI or the Saramonic, the interface on the receiver isn't quite as intuitive, and also the audio is 16-bit instead of 24. But these really are the compromises that you have to make when you pay less for products just like this. Check out my full review on this on my channel. If you're just starting out and need a bulletproof backup system that won't break the bank, the Neewer CM28 Pro is certainly one to consider. And just as a bonus, I thought I'd include the Maono Wave T5. If you're looking for something that's small and can deliver quality, well, this is one you should have a look at. This one comes in at around $95, and it's easily used with both cameras and phones, and it has all the receivers and dongles that you need. This one is also 24-bit and works up to 300 meters away, and I can verify its quality having used this on a number of shoots, including those for the BBC.
There's a lot which goes into the show, and a lot what people don't see. Obviously, you're doing this now to try and give people a look into that, and you're here all day, you're watching the games, you're trying to put your input into the games, whether that's from a tactical point of view, you know, a mindset point of view of players, and you try and give the viewers the best analysis or the best, you know, detail that you can really.
And you can check out my full review on this microphone as well. The link is in the description. But even though this doesn't have lavalier support or internal recording, it's simple to use, and I'll be honest, I've been very impressed with this device. So what can we take from our brief look at these microphones? Well, all of them, and I do mean all of them, really do a fine job. I mean, I've used all of these on my BBC shoots, which says to me they've impressed me enough for me to put them to the ultimate test. So in turn, that should say to you that if you decide to buy any of these, you'll be in safe hands. Each have different plus points, but equally they have negative points too. So it really depends on your needs, but it also depends on your budget too. But what I would say is that there isn't really a wrong answer. All of these microphones are brilliant. Of course, the DJI Mic 2 has the built-in 32-bit float recording, but also you have to pay a bit more for that feature. The Saramonic Air is so small, but it doesn't have any onboard recording, but you do get that lav support, which you don't normally get in mics of that size. And the Neewer CM28 Pro has the onboard recording, but it's also much bigger than the Saramonic Air, and it only transmits 16-bit, but despite that, it really does a fine job. However, all of these microphones are proof that you can get good quality audio in 2026 and not pay the stupid prices you would have had to have paid maybe 5 to 10 years ago. So regardless, the mics on the market at the moment are, well, fantastic. So my advice is buy one if you want to have better audio in your videos. No doubt 2026 will see new editions released, but it doesn't mean that if you're in the market, you can't treat yourself to a bargain. And the links to these microphones are in my description. But great audio, well, it doesn't have to be expensive. And with the way the tech world is going, we should never be without perfect sound ever again.